All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the November meeting of the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Commission. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. As always, we'll start with the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Eddie Smotherman looks so good today that we've all agreed that he must lead us in the prayer. Eddie, thank you.
I'll take it as a compliment. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and thank you for the many blessings that you've given us on this day. We pray for those who lead our country. We pray for our local leaders. We pray for those who are struggling because of the recent hurricane. Be with our military and our service leaders. We thank you so much for all the blessings that you've given us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eddie. Everybody should have received their packet from the department office earlier in the week, and contained in that packet were the minutes from our October meeting. This time we'll entertain any changes or corrections that need to be made in those minutes, and if there are none, a motion for acceptance.
Having read the minutes, I move approval as submitted.
Have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you. First item of business today is a presentation from the athletics division. Thomas, I assume you're going to lead us in that, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and really talk about what we do in athletics. And before we begin, though, I want to recognize all of our athletics staff. This is truly a team, and with it being athletics, I find it's coincidental that athletics staff really genuinely work as a team. While everybody has programs that they oversee directly, everybody lends support to those programs, and each person on our athletic staff brings a unique ability to the staff. So I want to start with Gary Arbit, who's an athletic coordinator, and Gary oversees several programs, but in addition to his athletic duties, he manages the McFadden Community Center. Ann Gilmore is an athletic coordinator, and in addition to a lot of the adult programs and athletic programs, she oversees all our social media in Facebook and Twitter. Mike Philpott, an assistant coordinator. In addition to the athletic programming, Mike makes sure that schedules are updated, websites are updated with scores, and really gets the information out to our participants so they can stay abreast of where they're at in the standings and in our leagues. Elaine Mitchell, assistant coordinator, who does a lot of different programs, athletics, particularly in the adult programs, but also in the youth. Elaine is currently managing Siegel Park. Her office is out there, and she also schedules all of our referees. We have a part-time athletic assistant, is Trevor Hutchison. Trevor was instrumental this year in getting adult flag football going and overseeing the youth flag football. He lends support to each one of these individuals and is a real asset to our team. And last but certainly not least is Jim Davis, who's our part-time marketing assistant. As you'll see later, Jim brings our athletics to life on the web and through his photography, and he certainly has helped us get the word out there and offer a lot of assistance to our participants and customers. So I'm very proud of all of these individuals, and while the programs we're going through, they lend a hand, and the successes that athletics has seen over the last couple years is a direct result of this team and the hard work they do. So we want to congratulate them and thank them for all their hard work. Over the last several years, Murfreesboro athletics has grown, and we've seen significant growth in the areas that we cover. We do 5 youth sports, 8 different adults programs, and one of the things over the last couple years that athletics has tried to do is not only provide a great product, but to be self-sufficient. Our Youth athletic programs begins with our youth basketball program. Youth basketball is the largest program we have with 94 teams, almost 1,000 participants. We're close to that this year, and we are taking late registration for those that want to register. The revenues last year for youth basketball were $34,200. Track and field, another program that Murfreesboro has always been a big part of, but the Murfreesboro Track and Field program gives kids an opportunity to train for the Hershey's Track and Field meet. Last year we had 52 kids that participated in the local Hershey's Track program, and thanks to efforts from the half marathon, we were able to give shoes to each and every one of those participants. Of those 52, 36 went on to compete at the district level, and 17 went on to the state level. Youth volleyball is another great youth program that we've started over the last 3 years. We started out with 3 teams initially. Last year we had 8 teams, and we hope to continue with that. We have programs in place you'll see later to help us foster that program and bring youth volleyball to Murfreesboro. Youth volleyball generated $1,890 last year in revenues. These figures prove that our programs are self-sustaining. Youth football is another of our big programs. This year we had 22 youth football teams with the inception of the youth flag program. We had 6 teams in flag, and we anticipate that growing in the future. We had a great season of football, and all of the staff really worked hard. Football brings in over $24,000 in revenues, certainly making it self-sustaining. Our cheerleading program had 6 squads. We had an excellent cheerleading exhibition where they performed. Cheerleading brought in $2,400 in revenues, making that program pay for itself. In addition to our youth athletic programs, we do several youth programs that are on an ongoing basis. Our youth volleyball class is in probably 5th year. This program is held 50 weeks out of the year. Girls pay $3 to come into the gym. We have volunteer coaches that are qualified, gone through the screening process, that teach class each week. Begins at 4:30 every Thursday at SportsCom. Also, we have Toddler Time with Thomas, as Thomas. This is a great program for kids ages 2 to 5 where kids learn different things like standing in line, waiting their turn while playing games. But one thing that this really helps with us is it develops a sense of confidence and camaraderie with parents. So when their children are old enough to play sports and to get involved in athletics, they have the confidence in our staff to come to them and get them going. Sports Camp is a huge program that we had major success in this year. We had 5 weeks of Sports Camp with 30 participants. And also we had McFadden Camp, another success there, almost 30 participants each week. At the McFadden Camp, that is free to the general public. And McFadden Camp provided breakfast and lunch for all the neighborhood kids or anyone really that wanted to come out and participate in activities. We had a karate class. And tennis, Murfreesboro Tennis came over, several different opportunities for these kids that they may not have originally experienced. Our adult programs is our largest portion of the athletic programming. First of all, we have SportsCom basketball. 6 teams at SportsCom basketball. We average that SportsCom basketball generates a little over $5,000 a year in revenues, offsetting the cost of the program. Patterson adult basketball has 18 teams for 3 seasons. And the revenues generated for that are a little over $11,000, certainly paying for the program itself. This year we did an all-star game between adult basketball and SportsCom. The 2 teams came together, participated in not only a game but a dunk contest and a 3-point shootout. Well received, and we certainly intend to do that in the future. Women's basketball is every summer. The unique thing about women's basketball is that they want to play in the summer. Most of these ladies that play are school teachers, so they have their summers free. We have 6 teams in the women's basketball program, and it's highly competitive. Most of them are ex-college athletes. They're a very good basketball program there. Adult co-ed volleyball is another large adult program with 12 teams at Patterson Park for a rec league, 12 teams at SportsCom for a power league or competitive league. This year, due to Elaine and her efforts, we were looking at new trends. the trend has gone to four-man volleyball, and we found that we can take double the teams playing the four-man volleyball and double the number of participants by offering something new. So in our Power League, they do fours, and in our Rec League, they do sixes. Of course, adult softball is the largest program that we offer in our athletic division. We have 60 teams in the spring, 64 teams in the fall. Revenues for adult softball last year were a little over $41,000. These numbers are limited by field space availability. We play in the spring on 3 different locations, one field at Barfield, one at Starplex, and one at Old Fort Park, and we're limited to 60 teams. We turn teams away every season due to limited field playability. And then in the fall, we have Starplex 4 fields that are available. We're able to take 64 teams there. So if we had more fields, we could obviously grow that program to much bigger. Due to the limitation of fields, adult tournaments have fell off. While we've supplemented with a lot of youth tournaments, we have a lot of opportunity there that we can't necessarily do with the lack of fields. Racquetball is a sport that is kind of unique in how this league is run. It's really a great way for new people to the community to make friends and to meet new people. We set up a schedule. They have a week to play that particular individual. They're ranked in their skill levels, and they play throughout the season and then have a tournament at the end. We generally do 3 racquetball seasons a year. Adult flag football was a new one this year, very successful with 6 teams. We've already got requests for a spring season, so we hope to bring that to our levels in the spring. Of course, a lot of what we do, in addition to programs, we have partnerships with several organizations. Murfreesboro Baseball Association had 128 teams in the spring and fall. We kind of work with them and make sure that the fields are available and scheduled out and the maintenance is done. The Murfreesboro Optimist Club had 70 spring Little League teams. Stones River Kiwanis Softball had 51 teams fall and spring. They are maxed out, and that's the most that they can take. So, the Murfreesboro Soccer Club has 160 teams, both fall and spring. This is competitive and rec. Of course, the Murfreesboro Tennis Association, we have a unique partnership with them where tennis lessons and clinics are run through them for part of the revenues. Almost $5,000 was generated through tennis lessons and clinics this year through the Murfreesboro Tennis Association. And the youth tennis, the quick start tennis, has been a huge success with almost 180 participants. Lacrosse has really seen a rise in participation. They started 4 years ago with 2 teams. They're up to 12 teams this year for all age groups, so it's taken a hold. Disc golf had 138 paid members last year, play at Barfield Crescent Park, 3 tournaments a year. There's weekly doubles events and a monthly tournament the last Saturday of every month. And of course, one of our partnerships is the YMCA. Last season they played at McKnight Multi-Complex with 8 flag football teams and 6 soccer teams. One of the biggest things that we do, and Mr. Philpott really is helpful in this, and a lot of his responsibilities fall in that, is helping us schedule tournaments. Last season we had 48 tournaments within our park systems. Some of these were some really, really big tournaments. Some of them were not so big. We had 200 teams for the Tennessee Cup for a soccer tournament. Then we had 28 teams for a fundraiser at softball. But all of those generated last year $45,974 in revenues directly to the city. This year we're on pace we've already exceeded that. From July till now, revenues are at $49,718. So field rental fees are way up, showing that there is a huge demand for ball fields and tournaments. Of course, of our duties in athletics, we oversee ballparks. At Barfield, the disc golf course, there's 8 baseball, softball fields. Starplex, of course, has 5 baseball fields. Siegel Soccer Park, 15 regulation soccer fields. Old Fort Park has the 2 smaller fields and 24 tennis courts. McFadden Community Center, of course. McKnight Park has 4-field complex plus the 2 temporary fields. and 6 sand volleyball courts at Sportscom that we schedule out. Several other things we do we oversee the Siegel Park Easter egg hunt. We collaborate with the rec division, but athletics plays a major role in that Easter egg hunt each year. The McFadden Fall Fest, Barfield Beach Bash. This is a unique event where we take, because we have to top dress our fields every year, we put the sand in a parking lot, have a beach party prior to putting them on our fields, so we get double for our money. We get a program out of it, and then we get our field maintenance. Of course, we do the haunted hayride at the Barfield Halloween Bash. Something this year that we've done, and with the help of Jim Davis and Ann, we've got the Facebook. And as that loads, I'd like to summarize where we're at in athletics. Obviously, we have a lot of programs we're providing a great service to a community, but there's still a need for more. And for us to grow, and we're ready to grow, and with the new technology coming in, we're able to do more than we have been able in the past. Last year, we had 193 youth baseball teams playing within our city. These were travel teams, leagues, but mostly was partners of ours through Optimist and Murfreesboro Baseball Association. They played on 11 fields, 3 of which are only the Little League grass fields. Only 2 are regulation baseball fields. So of the 11 baseball fields that our leagues played on, only 5 were actually designated for baseball. Softball is limited to 51 teams each season, so girls are turned away or being forced to play in other cities or other towns because of the lack of softball fields. A softball complex would be huge for us because we would be able to allocate baseball fields that were originally designed to be baseball fields and building a softball complex. By building a complex or providing a complex itself, it helps us to manage it. When we're scattered throughout town at Oaklands and Old Fort and different places, that's very stressful on our staff. As you can see, we're managing 1,300 kids with a staff of 7 of us, and most of these boards that manage that many kids have 20, 30 people on their board as volunteers. So I think we're maximizing our staff, and we have the ability to continue maximizing that, but the lack of facilities is kind of hampering us. Revenues for athletics were over $200,000 directly that's revenues paid directly to the city. That pays for our programs. We're working at trying to make ourselves 100% self-sufficient in the future. However, these tournaments and the sales tax revenue brought to the city, last year in 2011, you saw that we broke a record. Tennessee or Rutherford County was recognized. Of that $216 million that was brought in tourism dollars, the Chamber acknowledges that 13% of that, which is about $30 million, is a direct result of our athletic programs or our athletic tournaments. So Siegel Park, Barfield Crescent Park, Starplex, and McKnight Park, and Old Fort Tennis was responsible for generating over $30 million in sales tax revenue to this county. And a good portion of that comes back to the city. So keep that in mind. I want to go through real quick our Facebook. Facebook is unique in that it allows us to do several things. One, it gives the general public the opportunity to go in and utilize these great action shots that Mr. Davis has been taking. Each week, whatever we're doing in our programs, Mr. Davis shoots these photos, and then we add them to the Facebook page. And parents, fans are able to go in there, print those off, save them to their hard drive, or even download them to the Walgreens app so they can print these action photos at no cost. So that's kind of a service that we're able to provide by doing that. Another thing that Facebook does is allows participants to communicate with us. We have a means of them leaving messages for us that don't necessarily go to that won't go to everyone. It comes directly to us. We also have a way to get insight into who's following our Facebook and who's there. So when you look at the Insight page, it tells you the total likes, 359 likes, the friends of fans. So this means that this information is going out to 106,000 people, 875, directly or indirectly, virally, whichever way. The people talking about it. And then this is our weekly total reach. So each week we're reaching 2,612 people. In addition, it allows us to go in and look at who is being a part of our program, or who is our target audience. By this graph, you're able to see that 25.1% of our viewers are ages 25 to 34. We're able to see what cities they're looking at, where our audience is coming from. A good portion of it is from Murfreesboro, but as you can see, we're catching the attention of other individuals. And then if we go in and we look at the reach information, it allows us to go much deeper and to see how much of a further scope we're out, so how we're getting out there. And this is relatively new. We've been on Facebook for about 2 months now, since September. So we're continuing and working really hard with Jim to continue to grow this. And when you go and look at the initial graph, you can definitely see the spikes when we add the photos, and how we're able to generate traffic is by adding photos. People like to see themselves as well as their children on Facebook. So when you see this, you'll see we added the bowl game photos. So that's where our likes have spiked and our interest. So, with that, we certainly enjoy doing athletics. Everybody on this team is very passionate about what they do, and they do a great job. And I think we've put together a team that is committed to providing the best athletic programs and ensuring that the athletic facilities are maximized to their maximum capacity. We need your help in helping us develop new facilities so we can continue to grow. We've got several tournament directors wondering when we're going to be able to host adult softball tournaments again. And that's something that we want to look at doing in-house, hosting tournaments ourselves where we're generating those revenues rather than just generating field revenues. In addition, we appreciate the Commission's support in every one of these, approving fees and approving the things that we've been doing, because the sky's the limit, and we look at it in athletics is we have the opportunity to create our own destiny, and by growing and providing for this population is how we plan to do it. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thomas, thank you. It's a good report. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple. Thomas pointed out max capacity on softball fields and baseball fields and need for more of those. Talked about, our tennis programs are just busting loose too, just like the other ones are. I was in Nashville just a couple of weeks ago at a tennis tournament, and just happened to be in Centennial Park where their ice complex is, and I was amazed at the number of Rutherford County tags pulling in there, just one after the other, with hockey programs going over there, and with tennis programs. We're a city of greater than 100,000 in a county with over 250,000 people, with a major university, and we don't have a hockey facility, which would probably add to the tourism dollars if we had something like that. Furthermore, if we're sitting here in this town of this size, back with tennis programs, and I've traveled around our state here with that here recently. Obviously, my daughter's involved in that program. I had to be upfront about that. But in West Knoxville, for example, just West Knoxville, there's about 5 or 6 tennis complexes there with indoor facilities. And same, again, with the size of our city, we don't have an indoor facility either.
Based on the national park standards, we're operating about half of what we should be operating on both ball fields, tennis, and several
Right.
of our athletic.
If we had, again, likewise, if we had a facility, an indoor facility for tennis, if we had a facility for hockey as well, we could have more tourism dollars in the form of more tournaments as well.
Absolutely.
And have year-round programs as well, and help take some of the pressure off of what we do have. And of course, at Old Fort, it's no secret, we've got several courts over there that we've built in the last few years, but we still got a lot of those that don't have lights. And I guess as a whole, I know we have limited dollars, a lot of pressure back to the city council and all, but wouldn't it be a prudent thing for us to kind of look at and study and get some feasibility and you know, I think even working in partnership with MTSU on some of the things that they're doing. I know they've got plans to build an indoor tennis facility. I don't know what other plans they have for club sports like hockey and so forth. But again, I just kind of lay that out. And also addressing those ball field needs. I remember many years ago when I was a lot younger than I am now, playing at tournaments, softball tournaments out at Samsonite Park, you know, for years. And I know that brought a lot of people in as well. So those are just some concerns I got and some things that I'd like to see us kind of move in that direction and maybe see what the price tag would be and see how we can kind of get some of these things on the front burner instead of the back burner.
Well, the one thing, using Siegel Park as an example, when Siegel Park was first built, there was some people that were on the fence about building a $14 million soccer complex. And even at field rentals at $150 per day per field, it would take 30 years to generate that much revenue in field rentals. However, within the first 3 years, we doubled based through sales tax revenues. Some of these soccer tournaments we had one over this past holiday weekend. The Labor Day tournaments brought in $3 million in sales tax revenues. Spring Fling is estimated at $4 million in sales tax revenues. This Bash in the Borough that was just held this past weekend before last, is estimated to bring in almost $900,000 in sales tax. State Cup is being held this weekend. The 120 teams for the adults and all is estimated at $1.2 million in sales tax revenue. So these sales tax revenues through these facilities, and it's these big complexes like this that we have that draw the big tournaments. A 2-field complex or a 4-field complex is limited to the number of people that will be coming into your community. So you're limited as to what type of tournament you're going to be able to host. A large complex is going to bring a large number of teams, and the majority of those teams are going to be from out of town.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a couple, Mr. Chairman. Thomas mentioned a couple of things, and Mr. Tips mentioned a couple of things I want to pick up on. Number one of the things that we're going to be working on this year and hopefully finish by the end of the fiscal year is a comprehensive master plan for this department that will be looking at exactly what Mr. Tips is talking about, where we stand with offering facilities, where we should be, benchmarking with other communities, looking at how that equates. And if you look, I think Mr. Laird mentioned national standards. Generally, national standards for if you're using baseball, softball fields as a combined facility, the general rule of thumb there is you have one for every 2,500 people. Okay, that would mean that for a town of 110,000, you would need 54. We have 21, so that makes us 23 short. So what you see is you see the softball leagues cutting the numbers. You see the baseball leagues saying we can't expand this. And then on the other side, what you see is you see them starting in February or 1st of March and running all the way through the end of November. And that's the way they get their games in. The other thing that you're up against the wall with at that point is practice facilities, because the leagues use the game fields as practice fields. And once games start, you don't have practice anymore. And cities, the city of Smyrna has a area that's just dedicated for practice. They've got a nice area for practice fields that they've built. It's not game quality, but it does give you an opportunity to go practice. Tennis, the rule of thumb there is 1 court for every 2,000. If you look at that, we should have 55, we have 27. Or excuse me, we have 28, so it makes us 27 short. And those are, and you can feel that. You can feel it in the tennis community coming and saying, we'd like to have this. We need more areas to practice. And I know MTSU and the city has been talking about the indoor tennis complex, and we're working toward hopefully a good resolution there. Thomas also mentioned the economic impact. Economic impact is huge to a community. Some people don't figure that in, but it's absolutely huge to a community. In Rutherford County in 2011, it was over $250 million in economic impact throughout the county for tourism. It was up over 25,000 or 24,000 from 2010. And they contributed that mostly because of the big tournaments that we were bringing in and the things that we were doing. I think the city gets somewhere direct sales tax, somewhere around $30,000 per every million that you bring in. So if you think of that, that's getting close to a couple of $1 million with revenues that would be coming into the city. And so those are proportional as you add different venues, you add things that people coming in, you're going to increase that. Of course, we always say that is the kind of the cleanest kind of business. You don't have to build schools for those folks, and you really don't have to improve too many roads. You bring them in, the money gets deposited into the accounts here in Rutherford County, and then there's an economic role. And you always hear of the role that happens because they come in, they spend their money, and the payrolls for the restaurants and the hotels and the other services pay those folks, and then they go spend that dollar again for another service, and it rolls 2 to 3 to 4 times within your community. So there's an economic factor to that as well. But it's one of the things we're going to be looking at in the comprehensive plan. Will involve the commission directly into those studies and into those discussions. So it's kind of a good problem to have. I kind of think of it as when we first built the Greenway, the biggest problem that we had was we didn't have enough parking. So we had to go out and build some more parking for the Greenway. So we do have a very active athletic program in Rutherford County. We think it is a very good feeder program to the schools. We know that folks that are involved in athletics know that the kids that are playing now in the high schools that are competing for state championships played in youth sports, and that's where they got their start. So we want to make those starts as good as we can possibly make them. We want to make those kids interested in those particular sports. And it just carries on from year to year as people become involved. And so if you just kind of start, you could take the kids that are in high school right now that are at all the major high schools in Rutherford County, and if you've tracked them back and looked at where they started somewhere in a youth sports program, much like we're offering. And a lot of them are going on, getting college scholarships and moving on to bigger and better things. So the athletic program plays a major role in our community.
Thanks, Lanny.
Okay.
Thomas, we appreciate you being here, and everybody else, thanks for your work. Appreciate you guys taking time to be at the meeting today. Next item is a consideration for the approval on the annual holiday specials for Patterson Community Center and SportsCom. Bart Fight's going to go over that for us. Bart, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we'll try to get our flyer up there on the screen. I come before you today like I have for the last 5 years seeking approval for our buy one, get one free special that we offer at SportsCom and also at Patterson Park. You know, like I said, for the last 5 years we've offered this. This has been a great addition to our services that we offer at Patterson and also at SportsCom, and our patrons and our new customers even come in and ask about it. I had somebody ask about it before I left the building today about it. And in your package, you can see how much we've increased our revenue since we started this in 2007. Patterson Park, the first year was $115,000. It's gone to $150,000 that they brought in last year. And SportsCom started in 2007, $94,000. And it's gone on up to almost $147,000. So this program that we offer, the benefit that we offer, feel like it does keep our customers coming. They refer to other customers, and when they hear about the 2-for-1, they're very excited about it, and it brings in our new customers also, like I said, and gets the new ones. And also, what we can do, we do have a lot of people come in and say, well, I just want to try it for a year. And our front desk staff at Patterson and SportsCom does a great job of matching them up with another person if they want to split the cost. So they get a year for half the cost that it would usually be. So we try to work with our customers and the referrals that come in and try to get them in our program or in SportsCom and hopefully show them a benefit to them and their lifestyles. And like I said, today I'm coming for you for approval. In January, also, we offer the 25%. Of course, the New Year's resolutions are big: getting fit, losing weight, exercising more, and we want to offer the 25% off on our yearly or monthly passes also in January. So, with that, if you have any questions or suggestions, I'll be glad to listen to them.
Does anybody have any questions for Bart regarding this annual program?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this program as presented.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bart, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is an update on Christmas at Cannonsburgh. Becky, are you doing that for us?
I am. Sheila is not feeling well today, so I said I'd mention this for her.
Awesome.
And I have a little flyer that I'm going to try to pull up here for our Christmas at Cannonsburgh. All right. Christmas at Cannonsburgh this year is going to be Friday and Saturday, December 7th and 8th. It's from 6 to 9 both nights. And our Christmas at Cannonsburgh, it's free admission. It's for all ages, for everyone to come and participate with. We will have pictures with Santa. There is a fee for the pictures with Santa. It's a $5 fee for that. But other free things include we'll have hot apple cider, hay rides. The city schools will be performing in the gazebo, so that's always great. That draws a crowd in itself. There'll be storytelling in the schoolhouse. And one of the things that will be new this year is they're putting up Christmas lights at Cannonsburgh. So they're going to light up the whole village with Christmas lights. So it's a great program, December 7th and 8th once again for everyone who'd like to come out to Christmas at Cannonsburgh.
Here, Becky. Thanks for the info. Does anybody have any questions for Becky on Christmas at Cannonsburgh? Thank you. Next item is a Westview Mini Park grant. Lanny, you taking this
Update.
one? All right.
Yes, sir. Several months ago, we came to the commission, asked for approval to apply for a grant to upgrade the Westview Mini Park. We went on to City Council. We had to have a resolution for approved matching funding for that grant, which was approved. We applied for the grant. There were, my understanding, very competitive. Over 100 grants were submitted, and we applied for $75,000. Generally speaking, when they give a grant award, sometimes they will reduce that just to give out more grants. But they liked ours. Show you the big check. So we received our grant in full funding. Now, where does that take us at this point? The Department of Environment and Conservation said that it would be somewhere between 3 and 6 months before the city would receive their contracts. We will bring those contracts back after legal review. When we receive them, they go to legal for review, and we'll bring them back to the commission for approval and recommendation on to the city council. Once they're approved through the city council, our intent is to hire an architectural and engineering firm that will design the park and then take the park to competitive bidding. And we'll be bringing back designs for your review after the architect is engaged. And our plan is also to go out and put our tent up on the site and have a public gathering of all the residents and get their input on the design. So the design charrette would be based on what the neighborhood. Now, we submitted a preliminary design which showed a playground and a walking area and several things that we had gotten from the preliminary public meetings that we held for this park. But we want to go back and make sure that we do it right, that we do it to where it is serving that neighborhood exactly the way they want it. So more to come, but I wanted to bring it today and tell you that we were successful. We have got notification, and there was a check ceremony. We went and picked up our check, and we were happy. It is signed. We tried to get it not deposit, but it's too big to go through that little slot. I don't know. So I guess we'll just have to wait for the contract. But anyway, we want to report that good news back.
Congratulations, Lanny. That is good news, and we'll look forward to moving on with that.
Okay.
Becky, you are back up for our, give us a quick update on a preview of upcoming events.
Yes, I have some upcoming events and programs, but before I do that, I have a bit of announcement to make for our Greenway. There's a portion of the Greenway that includes the Broad Street Trailhead at 84 Lumber. That'll be closed this Monday, November 12th, for about 2 weeks. It's approximately 770 feet of asphalt will be replaced. And you can see this on the map up here. It kind of shows you right, this little red area right in there is where they're going to have that portion closed. So if anybody wants to start at Thompson Lane Trailhead and try to get to General Bragg Trailhead, they won't be able to do that because that one portion there will be closed. We have put that on Facebook and the website, and there is a link on our Facebook page that can take you to Google Maps if you want to look at that to really make sure you know where that's going to be closed. But it should take about 2 weeks, but if you factor in weather or anything else, it may be a little bit longer. So we just want to make sure that everybody knows that starting this Monday, November 12th, that section of the Greenway is going to be closed for repairs. All right. And some of our upcoming events, if we want to pull them up on the screen, we have Tuesdays at Cannonsburgh. This is a program that's been going on this whole fall. It's a really good program. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you can join them at Cannonsburgh for a special treat as they demonstrate different things each week. Tuesday, November 13th, you'll learn how to pitch a tent and campfire. November 27th, they'll make a Christmas craft, and then they also are looking to have you help decorate the village, which will lead into Christmas at Cannonsburgh. It is a $2.50 fee per person, and in order to pre-register, the phone number's up there on the screen. It's 890-0355. Then we have a child-friendly Thanksgiving cooking program coming up. This is a new program that they're doing out at SportsCom. It says no heat required. It's an interactive cooking class to help children learn how to cook healthy. Those are definitely issues that we're concerned with in today's society. So we're trying to help kids learn how to eat healthier and teach them things that they can cook themselves. It's for ages 2 and up with an adult. It's Friday, November 16th from 11:30 a.m. to noon. So it's a nice short program, and it is $5 per person. And to register, you call 895-5040, which is SportsCom's number. Then we have Bird Club. This club it's a really cool club. They meet monthly at all different locations around the city. It's for all different interest levels, beginners and whatnot, to go on out in the greenway and look for birds. It's through the Wilderness Station. Staff does that. So the next one is Saturday, November 17th at 9 a.m. And for information, you can contact them at 217-3017, and they'll be meeting at Old Fort Park, Pavilion 3 that day. We also have a senior fall hike series. It's pretty right now. Fall's in full swing, so you want to come out to the Wilderness Station so that you can enjoy fall before it's gone. It will be a naturalist-led hike, and it will be held Tuesday, November 20th at 9 a.m., and you can call the Wilderness Station at 217-3017 for more information. Sunshine Player Productions. We have a couple productions coming up here soon. We have Just a Little Christmas, which will be November 30th through December 2nd, and A Christmas Carol, which will be December 14th through the 16th. Tickets will go on sale 2 weeks prior to production, and you can purchase them at SportsCom Patterson or the main office at Barfield Crescent Park, or you can buy them the day of at the ticket box at Patterson Park Community Center. And if you're looking for any more information, Terry Ann Womack is the contact person, and her number is 867-7244. And I mentioned this earlier, but one last plug, Christmas at Cannonsburgh, Friday and Saturday, December 7th and 8th from 6 to 9, and that's free for all ages. And a big one coming up, it's a little ways away, but we have to mention it. Bart asked me to make sure that I had it on here for today, our Polar Bear Plunge. And that is going to be the first Saturday in January, and it's going to be the 10th annual Plunge. Activities will start at 8:30 in the morning in the SportsCom gym. The Plunge starts at 10 a.m., and we just ask people to bring a non-perishable food to benefit a local charity. And it's a great program. We get hundreds of people that are willing to jump into the freezing cold waters of the SportsCom outdoor pool each and every year. We get hundreds of more who come just to watch those people jump into the cold water. If you want any additional information, you may contact Nikki Hensley, and her number is 895-5040, which is the SportsCom number. And for more information on any of our programs, all of our programs, our facilities, it's up there on the screen, our main office phone number, our website, and we are on Facebook. We have the athletics page, we have a Murfreesboro Parks and Rec page, and we also have a Greenway page that are all specific to what we do with Parks and Recreation.
All right, Becky.
Thanks.
Lots going on as always. And we don't have any other items on the agenda. Is there any other business to come before the commission? We need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a second. Somebody give me a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.